welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Robyn. I attended the museum school, and I work there now. And I'd like to show you a short presentation that describes the school. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Have you all heard of the museum school before? You have? Yes, a bit? Great. Have you been to Boston? No? Okay. Do you know where Boston is on the east coast of the United States? Yeah, it's about 4 hours north of New York City. So, great. Well, thank you all for coming. The museum school is a very unique school. One of the most important things to know about the school is that we are affiliated with the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, which is the second largest collection of art in the United States. That means our students get to go into that museum anytime they want. It's directly across the street from our school to see original pieces of artwork in a way that no other school can offer. We have a large impressionist collection of art. So if you're in a painting class and you want to see an original Monet, you just go across the street and see an original Monet or Gauguin or sculpture. And we think that's really important to be able to have access to original pieces of artwork. Our students also have the opportunity to work with the curators or the exhibitions department if you want to really learn how a museum works. And we have 2 galleries inside the museum for our students to show work. So you could actually show your work inside a major museum. Just before I came, there was a major article in the papers about how the museum has one of the largest collections of Korean antiquities outside of Korea. So we have a very strong connection with Korea at the museum. We have our own curator, our own gallery of Korean art, and this was just part of the article that was in the paper the other day, just before I left. We are in Boston, which is a great city. It's not a very large city. We have about 1 million people, but it does have great public transportation, about 60 colleges. So you're around other students. It gets a little cold there, a little colder than Seoul. We do have a lot of snow, but it's a very warm city. The other partnership that's very important about the museum school is with Tufts University. Yes. Have you heard of Tufts? Are you familiar with Tufts? It's an excellent school, really focused on high quality, rigorous academics. And Tufts does not have an art school, and the museum school does not teach academics. So in order to get your bachelor's degree, you need both. So 75 years ago, both Tufts and the museum school partnered up so that every student at our school also attends Tufts University, and they graduate from both the museum school and Tufts. So you're getting a very high quality academic education and a very high quality art studio education.
Students can get dual degree.
I'm sorry?
They can get dual degree.
Dual degree, yes, you can. So the Bachelor of Fine Arts program is a 1 degree from both schools. And then we also have another program called the dual degree program where you get an academic degree and your fine arts degree. So 2 degrees, that one takes 5 years, but you can get both. That's correct. So that's what I was just mentioning. We do offer the BFA and the combined degree, and both programs, all the students are both a museum school student and a Tufts student at the same time. And they both graduate from both schools. It's just the BFA is 1 degree at the end of 4 years. The combined degree is 2 degrees at the end of 5 years. So, oops. Great. So we are, for the United States, we are an old school. We were founded in 1876. We're a small school. We only have about 600 students. And that means our class size only is about 10 or 12 students. And we think that's very important. We want you to have access to your instructor. We want you to have space. We don't want you to have to share the equipment, so you get your own pieces of equipment. As I mentioned, there's 60 universities in Boston, so you have lots of other students your age to spend time with in the city. And we have a growing international population. Almost 20% of our students are from Korea, China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Turkey, Brazil, Greece, and the UK and France. So let's see. We have 13 areas of fine arts. And what's really interesting about our school versus other schools is we never make you declare a major. So you may be interested or have experience in painting and drawing, but maybe you've always wanted to try sound or video or animation. You can do that in art school. You can be focusing on one area and then try something different. And maybe that will shift how you work in your primary area, or maybe you'll want to change direction entirely. That's completely fine at our school. We want you to experiment and take risks and really try things out. So we're all about trying things. So we don't have any majors, and we don't require the foundation year. As you know, many schools do have this required foundation year where you have no choice what classes you'll be taking. We let you choose your own foundation year. So you can take the beginning level painting or drawing class if you want, but if you feel you have had enough experience in that area, you can skip right to the next level in that area. But you may want to start at the beginning in another area where you don't have the experience. The school is for students that are very self-directed. Because you don't have a clear path to follow, and we want you to find your own path, we do look for students who are self-directed, who have a passion about what they're doing, and already have an idea of what they're trying to say with their work, and we give them the tools to say that. And I mentioned that we are definitely interdisciplinary, so using all the resources to make sure that your art is the best it can be for you. I'm going to show you some of our students right now and what they're working on. We have Tim, who's been working in drawing, but he's kind of elevated his drawing to a sculptural practice and gallery ready. So he doodles, he draws, and makes these funny little comments about life and society, but he's actually made them, they're out of wood, and he's made them into a sculptural piece. So he's working in that area. Cassandra does a lot of writing, so she writes short stories and then illustrates them through photography. So she will build these elaborate sets and gather together models and then photograph and illustrate her short stories. This one happened to be about UFOs. So, James is a graphic designer, and some of the type of work that he's working on is fun and bold and graphic. He also does some sculptural work as well. And then Nabila is working in performance art. She's documenting it through photography. So she's been doing a lot of active art in the community and photographing it, as does Eduardo. He's been photographing himself doing different performances around Boston, pretending he's an ostrich and hiding his head. So, all sorts. So if you see someone in Boston with their head under the water, that's one of our students. Katrina's working in much more traditional painting forms. She's almost photorealistic with her paintings, and her theme is female and women's rituals, so baby showers and wedding showers and events like that for women's lives. She also works in paper making and print making. Paul is an amazing painter. He's a very technical painter. Painting is one of the largest and deepest areas at our school. Really tremendous control over his work here. And June is working in these wonderful sculptural projects, combining these whimsical and fun, fun materials that she finds to create these beautiful compositions of color and balance. So we're very happy with her work. I'm just going to go through a few more pieces of work so that I can show off the different areas that we have in the school. We certainly have printmaking, so lithography and etching, woodcuts and monoprinting. We have sculpture. Definitely have drawing classes. And this drawing was done in a handmade book. We have a lot of bookmaking classes. Jewelry making. Oh, I'm sorry. Jewelry making. There we go. We do not have fashion classes, but we do have students that are working in fashion. This student creates these sculptural pieces of clothing, and she's getting a lot of attention in many areas for her amazing designs. And when she's completed wearing them, she creates sculptures out of them. So they are gallery-ready pieces of art. We have video classes, installation classes. This student changed his whole studio space into an installation. This is a great example of, again, this interdisciplinary practice that we have. It's sound on a painting. So the student recorded different conversations, and then she put microphones behind each of these teacups. So if you come up to the piece and you put your ear to the cup, you can hear different conversations. So it's talking about gossip and society, and when you're sitting around drinking tea, you're actually just gossiping. So great blend of painting, sculpture, and sound work. Another piece of sound using drawing. This student wrote a piece of music and then created an algorithm so that the computer itself draws these lines based on his musical score. So we do consider this a drawing. And then painting. Lots of painting going on at the school. All different types of styles, sizes, really broad painting practices going on. Some of the faculty that I think you should know about, Ethan Murrow teaches drawing. This is a pencil drawing. Yes, all of his work is extremely detailed like that and photorealistic. He's an amazing instructor, getting a lot of attention in the United States. Barbara Gallucci used to work for George Lucas, the director of Star Wars, and she designed the Death Star. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but she designed most of the sculptural pieces for that movie and many other movies. So she has great industry experience to share with our students. Mark Cooper is a ceramicist, and he had a show at the Museum of Fine Arts. Not only did he show his work, but he also showed his students' work in his show as well. So we thought that was really very generous of him to share his space with our students. And we have two faculty members who were involved in the Venice Biennale, an international art fair that happens every 2 years. Magda Campos Pons represented Cuba at that event, and she's one of our faculty members in the painting area. And Joan Jonas is an alum of our performance area, and she's going to represent the United States next year. So we're very pleased to have the entire United States represented by our alumni and school. So outside of school, there's lots of things to do in Boston. This is where our students live. It's called a brownstone in Boston. There are these row houses. They're very historic and beautiful to live in. This is the interior of one of them. There are 4 stories. They are co-ed dorms, but each floor is separated, girls on one floor, boys on another. We have a cafeteria, so there's places to eat. It's about a 5 to 10 minute walk to the school from there. Some of the rooms even have fireplaces in them. They're quite nice. And lots of things to do outside of school. So the first one stands for Bikes Are Really Fun. There's a lot of bike riding in Boston, so our students formed a club to take care of the bicycles and do these riding trips. Some people get together and make sushi in the sushi club. Some of them watch different movies like the sci-fi or the horror film club. The farm, some students have gotten together and they actually grow food in the back lot. So they grow vegetables and flowers and herbs, which is really nice. Talking about alumni, we're very proud of Vincent, who graduated last year. He's working with Ai Weiwei right now in Beijing. He works at his studio, so we're very proud that he's working with a major artist. And, oh, that's me with Julie Kang, another alum who's having a major show in Boston. I just saw her before I left, so she couldn't come with me this trip. She usually does, and she was very upset that she couldn't come home to Seoul, but she wanted me to say hello to everyone. If you're thinking about applying to our school, we do need a few things. We need our application, which is on our website. We need an essay. We don't have an assignment for the essay. Tell us whatever you think you want us to know about you and your art wishes. What do you think you want to do in art school? That's what we want to know about. We do need letters of recommendation, someone that knows you and your artwork. We need your high school transcripts. If you don't attend an English language high school, we will need a TOEFL, and we're looking for a score of 79. And we do not need SAT or ACT scores. So if you have taken them, great, and you want to send them to us because you think you did well, please share that with us, but they're not required. So, and the most important part is the portfolio. We need 10 or 15 pieces of whatever you think is your best work. So we don't have an assignment. Many schools ask you for an observational piece or a life drawing or a certain object. We don't have any of those assignments. We really just want to see what you think your best work is. And some students think that's the most difficult part because they have to choose. And some students really look forward to showing us what they want to show us. So we want to see your best work, whatever you think that is. So, sure.
How about transfer students? They need high school score also.
Yes, you need both your high school transcript and the transcript from the college that you're transferring from. But we are very generous with our transfer credits. Because we don't have required classes, we often accept every class that you've taken. So, because we don't have to fulfill certain requirements. So often you have not lost any time if you transfer. It's very easy to come in right where you've left off. So, and financial aid. Scholarships are based on your portfolio. So we do want to see, again, your best work. But all students are eligible. Domestic U.S. students and international students are eligible for financial aid. So we've been very generous with our students in the past. So that's just my short presentation. Do you have any other questions about the school? It is a unique school. So any questions about the Tufts relationship or? Did you mention Blick Art Studio? Thanks. So yes, and many classes provide the materials. So a ceramics class, we provide all the clay and all the glazes and all the kilns. In the welding shop, we provide all the steel for you to weld. Not in painting, you have to bring all your own painting equipment. Drawing, you have to bring that. And jewelry making, definitely, you have to bring your own materials. Sculpture, there's often wood provided for you for some of the classes. Plaster, we do plaster sculptures and rubber mold making. That's available at the school as well. All the inks in the print shops, so if you're doing printmaking or screen printing, all the inks are provided for you. We do have a really amazing paper making studio. You do have to bring your own materials for that because that's your choice about what you want to make your paper out of. So, good question though. You know?
Would you say which one of these kind of, I know it's all interdisciplinary, but what would you say is kind of strong focus that SMFA has among students?
Sure. Definitely the painting area is our largest and deepest. We have the most faculty there, and they've been around for a long time, and many students are painting students. Photography would be the next, almost as big as the painting department. And then animation is getting very popular at the school as well. That's getting more and more students. We have a lot of really impressive technology for the animation. And that's something that a lot of painters move into. So they've been painting for a while, and then they find it's a narrative process. They have a story to tell, so they end up moving into animation. So those are the three largest areas. I think our sound department is very impressive. Working with sound as a true form in itself, not necessarily interdisciplinary, but it's very small still. But great. Are you what kind of work do you do? Animation, fantastic, great. A few years ago, we had a number of students that graduated from the school, and they moved to Hollywood, and they started their own animation studio, and now they just keep hiring our students, so it's getting larger.
Could you, sorry, go ahead.
How about internship? Is there any internship program?
Yes, we don't require it, but we do strongly encourage that you do either an internship at the museum. Our students get first choice of internships at the museum, and there are many internships that are already set up all over the city, but you can create your own internship as well. So it has to be substantive. You have to be doing something that's applicable back to your artwork, and you have to prove that you learned something at the end of your internship through a piece of artwork. So you have to create a piece of art that represents your experiences. So, but yes, great industry experience.
Could you tell us more about scholarship opportunities for international students?
Sure. All students are eligible for scholarship. You don't have to apply for that separately. Just your application is our scholarship consideration. So and most of the weight is on your portfolio. We do look at your entire application to make sure that you're a good fit student, that you can do the Tufts course load, that you will be okay in this self-directed environment. But really, we want to see a lot of passion in your art making. We want to see a lot of original ideas. We're less interested in pure technical skill than we are with your ideas. We feel we can teach you technique. We can always, teach you more drawing techniques or more color theory. But to have those ideas and to want to say something in this other language, that's what we're really looking for. Someone who has this need to express themselves through this visual language. So, great question. Yeah. Great. Is it? Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you all for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you.
로빈 리드 입학 학부장님이셨습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you. I don't want to speak Korean on camera, but 감사합니다.
One more time.
No.